everyone. Welcome to Spiritism at Noon. We are studying the book Empty Lives by Joanna de Angelis, written through the psychography of Chico Xavier. We are studying chapter by chapter, and each chapter has a different subject. So the subject that we are going to be studying today is criticism, which is a very interesting subject. And the way Joanna de Angelis presents it to us is very enlightening. So as always, I'm going to start reading, and then you can ask questions and make your comments, okay?
Okay.
So criticism. In the literal sense, criticism is a neutral analysis of an event, a piece of writing, a behavior, a work of art. I thought that was so amazing that she started by giving the definition already, because we have such misconception about the meaning of the word. And what she's saying here is a neutral analysis. So it is not to be considered something bad or something good. It's absolutely neutral. And so what does she say? Criticism must be conducive to improving whatever it is under scrutiny. It is a valuable tool for the qualification and improvement of anything placed under the optic of serious study. Criticism can be either constructive or destructive. It is understandable that, due to the many mistakes that it draws attention to, criticism began to be regarded as negative and malicious. The ability to analyze whatever it may be depends on the critic's motivation. Upon being pointed out, any errors or slips can be corrected, thus resulting in better quality. Due to the morals and spiritual evolution of those who are qualified for the job, criticism departs from its real purpose and starts pointing out the errors and imperfections it detects without the ethical value inherent to helping, contributing to the benefit of progress, perfection, of beauty. So let's stop here. So she makes it clear what criticism means. It means to go and analyze thoroughly whatever it is that we are going to be analyzing. It is with a sense of perfecting whatever it is we are doing. It can be cooking, it can be writing, it can be painting, it can be teaching, it can be you in your job, it can be you in your home. So even when we think about a housewife, for instance, maybe she has a routine in terms of what she has to do during the day. And then someone maybe with more experience may come and say, have you ever thought about perhaps, changing the orders or using this kind of product that seems to be much more, efficient than the one that you are using? Things of this nature. This is what we call, and Joanna de Angelis is explaining here, that it is criticism, in the sense of presenting an opinion with the aim of improving something. Yes, Marcel.
But I think this is from the part, the opinion or critic, no? The problem is the person that is receiving. Sometimes the person receiving in a bad way. Even you try to say in a good way. So this is the problem. Sometimes we need to understand this is the best moment to say something. Even if I want to help, So sometimes I try to um, avaliar, how can I say, evaluate
Evaluate. Mhm.
evaluate the situation, the moment. I noticed that my husband sometimes I try I need to change the way that I talk something to them. Another day I said, "Oh, I'm super tired because every day I need to do to clean the washes and something like this. And so on weekends, I enjoy when he do all these kind of things. And I don't know if the way I said, but in my mind, it's like, I'm so happy because you can help me on weekends. And he interprets like I need to I work too. I work every day too. I do my things. You think that I don't work? So I said, I can't believe that you understood this. I, I'm not talking this. I just talking that I am happy you could help me on weekends. I never said that you don't work. So I'm just talking that we need to take care, about our words. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, Marcel.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Zoraida.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I understand what you're saying. Is how we interpret what we're trying to address to the person. And sometimes we're human and uh, a word might slip out and the person is going to misunderstand. It's
yes,
just this moment of one little word can trigger the misunderstanding. And that's so difficult, I understand. And especially what he's saying and what you're saying is absolutely true. You're tired, you appreciate that he's going to help. He's also working throughout the week and he's tired. So it's a very complicated situation at times when you're trying to address something to a person and they just don't understand or we didn't say the right words. We could go on and explain everything, but it is a difficult situation. The criticism is something you're not criticizing him. You're just trying to say, oh, I appreciate that you're helping me. Thank you. But the words don't come out like that.
yeah.
Sometimes it just
And
doesn't.
I think not just the words, but maybe like thank you or thank you or the way that you say something. I think for this reason it's better talk than write, because write the person like give the tone, the how the person is reading is different than you were talking. So I think we need to be careful with this kind of thing.
Yeah, you see, the way I see that is very much related to how we act ourselves and our intention.
Yes.
I believe that Joanna de Angelis was thinking about the same thing. I mean, she's trying to instruct us. We cannot control how others think, how others' emotions are at the moment we are going to be saying something. And as long as our intention was an intention of, bringing good, so this is, we have to work on ourselves. And but we do understand, like you said, Marcel, that we are all very sensitive, and we don't know what is behind. Maybe the our comment was just the cherry on the top of the sundae,
Exactly.
and you don't know. And like you said, especially when we write things, people may put the punctuation whatever they
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
the way they are interpreting. Sometimes I really like the voice messages because of that. It comes with the intonation that you wanted to give it. But yes, it's very complicated. A story came to my mind that I use in one of my presentations about, you know, looking and accepting for solutions. It seems that there are, it's just a story. There was this couple, and they lived in the countryside. They had a small patch of, land where they had, lots of chickens there. They, how do you say that, Soraya, when they create chicken? How do they are a farm of chickens, and I don't know if there is a proper, I mean, there might be when you have this many chickens there. Anyway, that land, they it was very prone to flooding. And every time that there was a flood, all the chickens would die. And year after year, the owner was trying to do the same thing. And year after year, it came flood and killed all the chickens, until one day, finally, his wife came to him when he was complaining about, what am I going to do? And this and that, only looking at the negative side of things. And she said, what if instead of having chicken, now we have ducks?
Okay.
You see, this is what I'm talking about here in terms of criticism. It is something that the person was not thinking, not contemplating, was bringing, you know,
The solution.
bringing a solution. But what I say was bringing. Oh my God, what's the word that I'm looking for? Bad news every year, right?
Okay.
And loss of money, financial problems, all of that. And I mean, sometimes, like we say, if we have someone that can think out of the box and bring to a solution, this is what Joanna de Angelis is talking about here. It is not intending to criticize in this terms of, coming and say, oh my God, how could you never thought about just replacing the chicken with that? So you just bring the message. But like she says here, although the intent and the words were never directed to a negative side, because of our moral involvement, and many times because of the way we do that, it seems that to some people it gives them satisfied, they make them satisfied because they will point others' mistakes or things that they could have done better, and eliminate all the good things that are there. So let's think about a critic of a book, okay, or literature. I mean, of course, for you to be a perfect writer, you have to really master completely the language that you are writing. And we know that this is not the case, regardless if you went to the best schools, best universities, etc., etc., etc. And so the role of the critic, proofreader, all that, is to go there and to point out, the mistakes, the grammar mistakes. Sometimes, go and say, have you noticed that you kind of being repetitive? Always with a aim of improving the work. But if you cannot, or if we cannot accept that, we should never even engage in anything in the first place, because, there will always be something to improve, especially if we consider that we are not yet perfect beings.
I think two things we need to think. No, one is we don't need to be arrogant when we say the things. I know more, or I am looking out of the box. No, so I can say in in a voice or in intonation good. And another thing, and when we are receiving, because I do this, like I need to, because sometimes I feel, I'm not so good. My ego is
Yeah.
attached. No, how can I say atacado? Yeah, you
Hurt.
know.
Your ego is hurt.
Yes, I think, wow, I don't know anything. I'm a messy. Oh, because I heard this. So I think this is a point we need to work in ourselves, no? Our ego, when I'm receiving some message or some critic, and our way to say when I am criticizing something, or not to be arrogant. If I know more than a person, careful the way I will talk. I think we need to work in ourselves, these both things, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's exactly what she's doing here, especially like when we were talking about, this is directed to us. It's not for us to say, oh, you see, you should be doing it.
Yes.
No, it's we should be doing that. And this, like you mentioned, Marcelo, that is very good, is a two-way street. Is when we are, being the one that will be giving the criticism, so to say, or being critics, and when we are receiving. One thing that as an example that I used to use is like, let's say that someone goes to you and say, Marcel, I think you are a person that is too anxious. And you say, no, I'm not anxious. Okay, a second person comes to you another time and say, I think you are too anxious. I don't care. I mean, they don't know me. Third person comes to you and say, I think you are too anxious. There are, in my opinion, there are only two answers to that. The first one, the obvious one, you are anxious. And only you is not seeing that because all the rest of the world is seeing that. The second one is you may come to the conclusion, well, I am not, or not that much, but I'm giving the impression that I am. So, in any case, what am I going to do about it? Right? Because sometimes we may get like, shy people. Sometimes shy people are taken as being too proud, they do not mix and with people, or they are very very selective, and it's not about that. They are just shy, and we in our imagination are creating a lot of um, putting a lot of adjectives into what the person might be, right? So it is very important as well for us how to receive
Yeah.
criticism. And like you said, analyze them with reason. And when she says here that due to the morals and the spiritual evolution, the ones that should be qualified for the job not always comes from the right place, from the right state of mind. They can be jealous, right? Because they always wanted to be a writer, let's say, and never had a good idea to write. And here they are with all these possibilities of writing in a perfect English, etc., and paying attention whether paragraphs are kind of repetition or not, but they don't have a good idea to do it. So they envy the others. They think with their heads. If you bring something new, it's very hard for people to accept something new. And so the problem is we are lacking, like she says here, ethical value. Not always we come from a place that we really want to help. Many times, even if I'm just doing that, saying, oh, you should change uh, the dishwasher soap, you know. It's in your opinion. Maybe in your opinion, this one is better for you, but not necessarily. I don't see any difference, right? But people want to be validated all the time, and they try to impose their concepts, and not necessarily they are in the right place, or it makes no difference, right? Maybe you go to a place, a supermarket, that this dishwasher is more affordable than the other one because they are always on sale. I mean, there are so many things behind it. But the thing is, how are we going to position ourselves in terms of, this kind of criticism? Uh, we understand that there is a tendency for people to abuse, but there are, as from us, but there are some genuine needs that we have to address and not qualify everything as being abuse.
Right.
Uh, so if someone is too needy, and then there is another one that is needy, I mean, and then you say, I'm not gonna look after needy people anymore. But maybe there is one among them that really needs you to do it, and the others no. So let's be very careful in our judgment, because this is also about judgment,
Yes.
right? When I criticize something, I'm criticizing this because it is the common knowledge that the thing that I'm going to say is the best one that there is, or it's because it's just my opinion. Right?
Yes. I think it depends, no, because I have a culture, I have experience, so actually it's always our opinion and our studies, but uh, I, I wrote a book, but this book is always in my mind, my experience. Maybe a person reads, oh, this is nothing good, but maybe it's not the truth. Maybe for this person not good, maybe for that person. So I think it's very dangerous give some opinion, because it's all related with our life, our history, our values, our childhood. So
Mhm.
I think it's dangerous. So I always think, maybe I need to be quiet. Maybe I need to say something. So I always evaluating if I need to criticize or no the things.
Yes, respecting cultures,
Yes.
respecting choices, right? And I think there is so much that we have to consider. But here, I mean, we are before, the reality that we will bring a comment. We will to this or that to a certain person. So when we do that, what is really on our mind, on our hearts? What kind of words are we going to be using? What is the intention behind all that? Or also, we are just going to be saying, oh, this is not the right way to do. And then we turn our backs and never teach the person what is the right way to do it. Right? There is that as well. At the moment you put yourself out, you have to do the full job. You cannot just say, oh no, um, you know, I can cook this dish much better than you do. And then I say, okay, can you give me your recipe? Oh no, I don't share recipes because there are family tradition.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, I mean, uh, I had a friend who that she made the best, you know, the arroz doce, the sweet
Rice pudding, rice pudding.
rice pudding.
Con dulce.
I mean, it was by far the best one that I have eaten in my whole life. But I mean, by much. But she never shared the recipe.
Oh,
She will continue with the best rice pudding alone.
So, you know, uh, okay, right?
I believe that if
Yeah.
anyone is trying to criticize me, or I believe that I would take it as a compliment in the sense that if they see something that I should correct myself in, I think it's a good thing. But the problem here is, am I going to accept it? What am I going to do with it? No, I'm going to think about it. And at the end of the day, I will probably figure out and say, they are right. Whatever they said, I should, you have to look deep inside yourself, to correct yourself. It's very hard to do that sometimes because we believe we do, we do the right things most of the times, but no, we're humans and we make mistakes and we don't know everything. So criticism, it's in a way, it's a good thing. I don't find it insulting or hard that somebody's hopefully have a heart of really trying to help. That's a good thing. I mean, we can't be so selfish to think that we're perfect and we know everything, and we're open to change is good.
Yes. And the last Friday, I'm thinking because I did something, I talked about something and I regret. We are talking about science and religion because we are studying the gospel, and I was talking to them, to my friends, to our group, that I never say to my kids when a person die that he become a star, because I'm super scientist person. So star is not a spirit, it's not a, but my friend, it's my friend, but I forgot that she had she loses her first kid with 2 years, and she said, but I did this. I talked to, she was a spirit since she was born. She said, I talked to my old daughter that her brother become a star, and I felt like I can't believe I said this, and she said that she used this. I feel so bad, and after the conversation, I called her. I feel I hope you're not angry with me. It's not, it's my opinion begin together with the spiritism. I like to be uh, uh, say the truth together with the science. No, Marcela, I'm okay. I'm fixing this with my kids after I'm taught a little bit more, because not true say the stars are people that die, but our culture used this a lot. In that moment, I am suffering a lot, and I didn't know what will I need to talk to my daughter, my old daughter. So in my mind, come this sentence, and I say, he become a star, but after a while, I changed it. So that I mean, in that moment, I say, I don't know if it's not a critic. It's, I don't know if my opinion or opinion of the spiritism say the truth, or say because stars are stars, not people that die. But I'm in a trouble, because she had this, she talked this. So if it was another person, maybe she could say, no, I didn't like that you talked this. So for my luck, she said, no, I'm okay, I understand. So it's danger when we say. So now I am more careful with my words, with my opinions and my critics.
Wow, there's so much to be analyzed there. I think I'm even going to stop sharing and then we continue sharing it.
I sorry.
Uh,
Yeah.
because we are talking about very important and delicate things here. First of all is, of course, everything came from a point where we are going to put reason before faith or religion, which is also something that we bring as a trauma from several incarnations because we have been so much submitted to whatever religion think it has is the word of the order. It has to be accepted unconditionally. And now we are on the other side, that we are inclining ourselves much more to go to reason, which is right, of course, and this is how it has to be. But it is a transition, and a transition for everyone, because if in one thing we can say, all right, I am full reason on this aspect, maybe when we are facing some illnesses or difficulties, the reason will not give us answer and not even fix the problem, but faith and religion will help us in this process. In this particular case, it was not a matter of opinion necessarily between you and your friend, but it has a story. She has lost a baby less than 2 years old. So she's traumatized. And maybe in her mind, she wants, as a symbolism, to see her son as a spark of light.
Yes.
And I mean, and she's not wrong, because we know that spirit is a spark of light. And what is a spark of light before our eyes, if not a star? So this is the closest symbolism that we can have, because of course we know that a star also is not like that, is like a round globe, right? Uh, so that is a symbolism that our self, the spirit, the self has to make. So in her mind, in her true self, not the persona, not the ego, there was for her not a better way to describe that to her daughter than to say, to make this correlation. You see, so I mean, sometimes the way that we simplify things, we miss that.
Yeah.
And so to a mother, like for us, is either that or he's an angel in the sky, right? In the heavens. So in this case, and so I think um, when we only bring reason, we miss also the context.
Yeah.
Why is the person did that? Maybe it's hard for her to admit that, he's in the realm of the dead. And what is exactly the realm of the dead? We are spiritists, but we don't remember, right? And still there are some doubts on the back of our minds. Yeah, I mean, sometimes is this really this way, right? And and I think this is like a wish. My son is a spark of light, and the best representation that I have to present him to my other child is to say he's like that star. He's a star.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that this is to stretch a lot. How could you, at that moment, make all this kind of connection?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, say, you know what? You are absolutely right. Maybe he's not that star that we are looking, the physical one, but his spirit, according to the description, is a star.
Yes, yes, this is true. And she said that after this, she had more kids, and with the psychologist told
Yeah.
her, "You need to say the truth." The psychologist said. So for the other kids, she said the truth. She said not a truth, but the scientific truth. So he passed away. So like, but she understood me, and this is the good of communication, because I was bad because I talked this, because I said that she did with her heart, and I'm talking about science in that moment, and she understood me, and I said, look, I'm bad with that. I said, because I know that you, like mommy, did your best, I don't I didn't uh, uh, experience this. Maybe I did the same. I will do the same, or I no. So she understood, and now we're okay. But
Yeah, and that returning to criticism, I mean, or in this case, to pointing out something, because that was, a kind of a criticism, saying, you know what, the best way for you would have to be, to tell the truth,
yes,
right? Or I think it's the best way is exactly what you did. You go there and say, I didn't mean to know what you were going through, how was the best way to do that at the time, especially with the pain that she was feeling and all of that. And so if it came across in a way that somehow it hurt you, it was not my intention. And I mean, in any case, in everything that we are doing, if there is misunderstanding or there is room for misunderstanding, it's better to be safe than sorry. It's
yeah,
better to go there and say exactly what you meant. And and I think, I don't even know if I agree with the psychologist that said that.
yes.
Because,
She said that psychologist said
yeah,
this. So I don't
because
know.
Wow.
there is a proper time for you to do that as well. And I was remember one personal case when my son was in that age that I had to tell him that there was no Santa Claus.
Oh yeah.
And
It's very difficult.
and then I tried to be as careful as I could. And he was absolutely okay with the idea. It was like, to him, as long as he had presents,
Right.
Yes,
it
yes.
doesn't matter who's bringing to me, right? Something like that. And he took it so well that I decided to reveal to him at the same day. Well, since you're okay, so okay with that, let me tell you something. There is no Easter Bunny as well.
The fairy tooth, the
And
same.
And he started crying so hard.
Ooh, the Easter he loved more.
too much.
I don't know if what happened, and
You gave him too much.
yeah, I gave him too much, or
He had to
maybe when
ingest.
I told no Easter Bunny, it was only when it synced that there was
I
no
think it's too
Santa
much.
Claus as well. But you see, uh, it was a total failure on my part. But you see, this is what I'm saying in terms of how we are going to emit opinions. How many times some friends come to you with a totally different hair that looks awful in your opinion, and they ask you, "Oh, do you like my hair?" What are you going to say?
Yeah.
what is the purpose of saying, oh my God, what were you thinking?
I always answer, if you like, it's beautiful. I just like,
Yeah,
are
but
you happy? Are you happy? So it's beautiful. It's just this.
because you see, those are very complicated things. Perhaps she cannot change it instantly. If it's just coloring, even when it's just coloring, it doesn't mean that you can just go back there and change it again. So we have to be very careful because there is so much more behind that, a state of mind, a need for renewal, and that sometimes we miss it. Like I have to do something and this is in my power. I can go the to the hair salon and change. This is in my power. So whatever I can control, I will do it. And there are so many things that is behind, and sometimes we are not paying attention.
Yes.
And here we go saying, "Oh my God, I don't know. I like it much more when how it was. How long it will take to grow back again." Those are things that are not going to contribute. But sometimes we can just not shut our mouths.
Right.
And even knowing that we are going to hurt the person, we will say those things instead of just saying, what is important is that you like, that you feel younger, that you feel this and that. And I mean,
I learned this because I experienced when I was kid. My mommy always put clothes me. How can I say? Me trocava, me põe a roupa.
yeah, choose your clothes for you.
Choose all my clothes. I couldn't choose my clothes until I don't know 12. I was big. Like she never allowed me to choose. Now my daughter go. So I like my freedom is giving for her. So she go to the street. Sometimes I feel terrible because she's the worst clothes that she could shoes, but I allow it so she could go to to her life like she wants to go. So I don't know if I'm doing well, but I feel like when how experience the opposite, I'm giving her that this kind of thing, that the freedom that I didn't have. So for this reason, I never criticize her clothes. She asked, "Mommy, I'm okay. Am I interior?" I think, no, it's terrible. I never would go to the streets like this. But I said, did you like it? Okay, so it's perfect. It's like this. I don't know if I'm doing
Yeah,
my
see, I think this is the problem of every generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some things that will be stuck with us, and we are going to be completely different than our parents did,
Of
which
course.
doesn't mean that we are right.
we never know.
So, uh, in my opinion, common sense always makes more sense.
Yes, I don't
Maybe
allow
she
her
can blame you in the
short.
future saying, "Oh my God, mom, how could you imagine that at that age I could have a sense of fashion?" You could have helped it.
Maybe we will listen this.
Huh?
Maybe we will listen this from
Yeah,
her.
yeah, right. So, so I think that we should, this is one of the mistakes we all do because we wanted to do the opposite. Oh, was so bad for me that I will never do that with my children. Okay, maybe it was wrong the way they did it. You should have had some free will. We all have inclination for some colors and other colors. I mean, uh, but we also have to take into consideration that this is not imposing your ideas, but participating in her choices, in her life, and giving her, notions of color and I mean, sorry, I'm not trying to criticize here how you do it. I'm just using as an example because there are much more serious things than that. Children that were super restricted as when they were young, and now I'm going to give all the freedom to my children.
No, no, I
And
understood.
things like this, um, I think that there is always a way of compromising when we are talking about education and this kind of things. Even thinking about something that was very common, people that used to write, children that used to write, they were lefty, and the parents would impose them to be righty because that would be an indication of something wrong. I mean, this is clinical, right? But certain things, I think, um, I mean, there are ways of doing that. Oh, I think so nice when I can participate with you in choosing your clothes and being part of your life. Come and choose mine with me as well. And I mean, you're there for the game, right? So there are so many things that we can do, but then again, um, um, it's just an example of the so many different situations that we can face in life and how we will do that. Because here is not about saying, "Oh my God, what a horrible thing." Uh, right? What were you thinking? Or going there, from now on, I'm going to choose all your clothes. We are not talking extremes. We are talking, uh, being together, going shopping together. Oh, let's go shop together because you can give me your opinion. And this, maybe she'll say, "Oh, my mother never cared about what I did. I don't need her to go with me and choose my clothes." So, and then you will miss that. Oh my gosh.
Another point of view that could help me to
Yeah,
see depends how I receive the message. So
yeah,
it's good to think in
yeah,
other. And I never say to my mommy, but I hate pink. This I hate pink. I always with pink.
yeah.
Oh,
There are things that are just to stay with us, and mm, probably it was because again there is a trauma from her, and we keep rolling that generation after generation. Maybe there was not much pink at the time, or it was not, she couldn't wear that much, and her mom didn't like it. It can get dirty too easily, then I have to be washing my hand all the time. There are so many things.
Yeah, explanations.
Yeah, right. I mean, like for me, when I was a kid, I had always to have my hair short,
mm,
and I longed so much to have long hair. And I mean, only when I was 14, I had a long hair. And then now, even though I like to have the long hair, and just because of that, and whatever the reason, it stays with us, and without knowing, we pass it on, or this will influence our behavior, but base it in something that somehow is stayed with you, and I mean, should be behind. Right.
I think the important is our intentions. We will be judged, I think, in
Yeah.
our whatever we do, we will be judged, and our intentions are the best that
Mhm.
we could. So I think she was talking about this, no, too, about our intentions when we criticize or.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I think you know that very well as well, Soraya. I know
yes.
that too. Uh, And you, Marcelo, may know from your perspective, not yet from your children because they are young. Regardless of the 80% of good that you did, the 20% perhaps that you failed somehow, this is what they are going to remember.
Oh,
Right, Zoraida? Am I
Oh,
wrong?
yes. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I come from a large family. I have 7 sisters. So mom never had to tell us that I remember because I was third to the youngest. So I had older sisters. So I would look at them and see how they dressed, or if they have clothes. We lend each other a blouse here, a sweater here. So I would never remember mom telling us how to dress. Somehow we learned from each other. And when I would ever go, I remember, never forget this. I went with mom shopping for school shoes. So went to the store and she picked out, she had told me, you want this or this color, whatever. And I picked it and I said, no, ma, I want that one. And that one was much more, it wasn't for school. It was like patent leather, it was shiny and it wasn't for school. So I put on the one that she told me and I said, ma, no, I like that one over there. And she says, no, that's not for school. That's for parties. I was kind of upset, but she was determined. She says, I wasn't going to get those shoes. And somehow I got out that store a little upset, but later on I thought, and I was happy with my shoes. And I'm glad she did that. Somehow this lady knew she wasn't a fashionable mother. She was a mother with common sense. And the shoes were more money. So she's also saying, wait a minute, this one is just as good. This is for school. You wear this, and this is not this one. And remember, that costs us a little more money. So somehow I got out that store happy. I listened to her, and what she said was absolutely, and I never forgot that. I remember they were navy blue shoes. It was for school. I never
You
forgot
never
the
bought
color.
some kind of similar shoes when you were adult?
So, and to this day, I think of those shoes as this lady she was such a calm person and didn't explain much. Somehow when she spoke, we listened to her and there was no problem. It wasn't like, I want those shoes, I want those shoes. We wouldn't act this way. This is what she said, listen to her, and that's it. And then I have my older sisters would tell me also, oh, would you just be quiet and listen to mom? All right. So I never had that problem. So trust in your daughter. Your daughter sees you. She sees how you dress. She's going to pick it up. Watch, she will. And sometimes it's difficult. They don't understand. And you think that, oh, if she start dressing, yeah, she knows what she wants.
yes,
She
yes.
sees you. She sees you, and she knows that you're a fashionable mother, and you're not, you're doing the right things. How old is she again?
She is 9.
Oh,
No, my son is 9. My daughter is 7. But my daughter has something with clothes, with shoes. I don't.
she
Uh, for me, any shoes and sneaker.
yeah.
Oh, I want the shining shoes. She likes the, how can I
High
say?
heels,
High heels.
I don't have. And she,
platform.
Mommy, I want to have. You can. You are a child. It's dangerous. Mommy, but I want my dream. Wait to grow.
Yeah, when you grow
Because
up. Little.
she wants so she's obsessed with shoes, and I don't know. I think her another incarnation.
Uh,
But life now, look at how everyone dresses now. Young kids want clothes that are for older people, and
Yeah.
older people are dressing like younger people.
Yes, could be, could be.
But trust
okay,
me.
we continue now next week, the same subject. I knew this is a very interesting subject, and I'm glad we had the chance to talk about it, to expand it, and have this nice conversation. Okay, so